Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty sure this is the first time I've ever sat behind a 7-piece drum set, so there's that. But this is a Tama Superstar Classic, not to be confused with the Tama Superstar. To be clear, this is not my drum set. This kit is on loan to me from Zzounds. So if you're in the market for either this drum set or any other drum set, be sure to head over to the website to see what they have to offer. So big shout out to Zzounds for letting me borrow this massive kit. But my regular viewers already know that I have a vintage Tama Superstar, but as soon as I got that kit, I knew I had to compare it to the modern Superstar, this kit, the Superstar Classic. But the more I did the research and more I looked into these drums, the more I realized that these two drum sets are completely different in so many different ways. It's like comparing apples to oranges. So we'll get into more of those details later, but the first and most obvious difference is the look. So I'll give my opinion on the look in a little bit, but first let's get some outside opinions. All right, I'm here with Wyatt here at the studio. All right, this is Eric. He's a fellow drum nerd. All right, this is Bryce. He's a drum nerd as well. There's two kits set up in the studio, and you're gonna tell me which kit you like the best. All right?
Okay.
All right.
That's simple.
Awesome.
All right.
Okay.
Well, that's a tough one. That is a tough one.
Oh. Just instantly?
Yeah.
I'm old school this.
I had a feeling you'd say that.
Yeah, all day long.
All right.
I like the finish of that one better, but I like the size of the drums in that one better.
Okay.
It's kind of like a mix of both here.
You know, I've never been a big, fade and burst fan on drums. I think it looks good on guitars, but no, hands down.
This is the one that like jumped out at me.
I see you walked to it first, so.
Well, I like natural look.
So you like the finish on that sizes of those?
I like the 18-inch floor toms, so I like big drums.
Gotcha.
What about the sizes?
This?
Yeah.
Yeah, this, everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
I like the shortness of this kick,
Right.
and I like the bigger floor toms on this one.
So if you had to pick one, which one would it be?
I'd still go with the old Tama.
Honestly, I'll do the new one.
I do love a good aesthetic. I love classic, wood tones.
Because it just, I like seeing like that modern wood grain,
Still this one.
Still the same?
Yeah, still this one.
but I like the floor toms better. They have a lot more oomph to them.
Still this one.
I love big sound.
Yeah.
Balls to them, I would say.
I'd probably still go with the Tama.
It's cool, but this.
The Tama, they're both Tamas. That's embarrassing.
All right, well, there's that. I also did an Instagram poll since I realized that 3 random people isn't that much data, and I guess based off of looks, the majority want the vintage kit. But do keep in mind that there are more finishes to the Superstar Classic than just this one. And as far as my opinion on the looks, I also have to go with the vintage kit. Something about the sizes and depths just make this kit look mean. But with all 7 drums on the Classic, it definitely looks way cooler. So the biggest reason as to why I chose the vintage kit is because of the sizes, but more specifically the depths. The vintage Superstar has a 12x8 rack tom, a 16x16 floor tom, an 18x16 floor tom, and a 22x14 kick. And the Classic has a 12x9 rack tom, a 14x12 floor tom, a 16x14 floor tom, and a 22x18 kick. And the 2 smaller rack toms are 8x7 and 10x8. And here's where things get a little different. The vintage Superstar has all birch shells, 100% birch. While the Classic has all maple shells, however, on the exotic finishes like this kit, the 2 outer plies are lace bark pine. The vintage shells are 6 plies and 9mm thick, And the Classics are 6 plies and 5mm thick on the toms, and then on the bass drum, it's 8 plies and it's 7mm thick. And the bearing edges on the vintage kit are dual 45s, meaning that both the inner and outer cut are 45 degrees, but it's a very soft 45 degrees, so most likely they cut the edges, then sanded them smooth because it's a very soft and pillowy look and feel to them. And on the Classics, there's also dual 45 degree bearing edges. However, these are much more sharper. You can really see how much more defined they are compared to the vintage shells. The Classics are much sharper, and the vintage is much rounder. So other than the size differences in both of these kits, you can totally hear the tonal differences as well. Kind of like you can see the difference in my hair. Anyways, considering the heads I have on both of these kits, the vintage Superstar is a bit more boomy and sounds better when tuned lower, while the Classics are the opposite and sound better when they're tuned higher and are less boomy. I've also never really been a big fan of 14x12 or 16x14 floor toms, because at least with the 14x12, it's like a rack tom with legs on it, and I like to tune my floor toms as low as they can go. So with the vintage kit having a 16 and an 18, honestly it's kind of hard to get them sounding good together, because if you tune them both as low as they can go, they just kind of blend together and just don't sound that good. But with the Classics having a 14 and a 16, you can really hear the pitch difference, and honestly they're easier to tune lower, which kind of surprised me. On top of all that, we now get into the maple versus birch debate, so all I'll say for that is for ease of tuning and sound clarity, the Classics win 1000%. They have a very pure tone, while the vintage kit, it's not difficult to tune, it just takes some getting used to, but also they sound much more open and, dare I say, boomy. So which kit is better? Honestly, I couldn't tell you, because this kit is good at things that that kit isn't good at, and that kit is good at things that this kit isn't good at. But I will say, if you want style points, definitely go for the vintage kit. But if you're in the market for an affordable maple drum set, then the Superstar Classic is your best bet. This is honestly the most budget-friendly maple drum set you'll find, and finding a Superstar, a vintage Superstar, is not difficult, but finding one in good shape, in the finish that you want, in the sizes that you want, and for a fair price, that's where things get a little difficult. So like I said before, these two drum sets are completely different, so I just wanted to make this video for fun to compare the two, also as an excuse to try out the Superstar Classics, but I'm curious to know which kit you would rather play. Would you rather play the vintage Superstar or the Superstar Classic? Let me know in the comments. And once again, big thanks to Zzounds for letting me borrow this drum set and making this video happen. If you're interested in this kit or want to learn more about it, there's a link down below. Also, I have a few more videos on the vintage Superstar if you want to check those out. But that's all I got for this one, so thanks for watching.